As hosts of this year's Emerging Markets Summit, why is it important that African economies take a consolidated look at their role as emerging markets within the global context?
Well, Africa is a very small part of the world GDP. Africa is still grappling with how we can get better synergies amongst our different countries. And we also have a large number of small countries that constitute very small markets, which if they don't combine their market power and their contributions to the continent as a whole, they'll become very insignificant players. So the basic theme here is how do we get better regional integration? What are the things that lead to integration? The economists call them channels. In other words, is it trade? Is it the movement of people? Is it the movement of skills? Is it the financial services industry? Is it the telecoms industry? And this study basically indicates that countries like South Africa, if they grow, will begin to have a positive impact on other countries. Now, the challenge is how do we more consciously design economic processes which use the size of these 3 or 4 economies that are bigger than others in Africa to the benefit both of themselves, but more importantly for the African continent as a whole.
I've read in this report that a 1% percentage growth in South African economic growth is associated with a 0.5 to a 0.75% African economic growth rate.
Which is again the so-called spillover effect. But we need to move over from a passive spillover effect to an active economic development program. And in that regard, politicians and policymakers need to make decisions which will enhance the prospects of all of us growing collectively and creating better synergies between our different economies. But how do we do this in a more planned, in a more organized, in a more energetic way is the challenge that we face. But at the same time, how do countries remove impediments to these dynamics? So how do we make customs processes easier? How do we build infrastructure that can get goods to move and services to move a lot more freely? How do we create regulatory environments that make it easier for business to do business? Are some of the challenges that we face.